Violet was born with a condition similar to tetralogy of Fallot. Her heart was knit together differently than most babies, and her blood was routed in a different way, but still sufficient for her body at the time of birth. About an hour after she was born, the nurse came in to weigh and measure her, and she heard a murmur, and they called CHKD to bring an ambulance so they could take her back for some more testing. When you've had a newborn baby, you expect to keep that baby with you. You don't expect it to be going to another hospital.
After Violet went to CHKD, of course, I followed along shortly afterwards. I was the only one there for probably the first 12 hours, and it was a pretty scary and alone time for me, just being, the only one over there besides Violet.
At 10 days old, she had an open heart surgery to give her a shunt that would keep the blood routing to kind of buy her some time to grow and get stronger before the full repair. The full repair ended up being at UVA. One song that really touched me throughout all of this has been Danny Gokey's Tell Your Heart to Beat Again. I knew that she would have to go on bypass for this repair, and what if her heart didn't beat again? What did that mean? And then that happened. That repair was too much for her little heart, and it wasn't beating like it needed to, and she couldn't come off bypass. And 3 days after I was holding my healthy, smiling, happy little girl, we had to list her for a heart transplant. The night that Violet and I transferred up there, we got up there late evening time, and one of the surgical staff members had just come in to talk about her surgery, and then right behind her I see a friend from home, and I was just so shocked, like, oh my gosh, what are you doing here? I had no idea that she was coming, and she stayed with me that first night. We had several other people who came up to visit, so that really meant a lot to us to have a little piece of home. Somebody did a hug and somebody to laugh with a little bit. That really helped.
Church family have probably recognized a lot of these. These were cards that were brought up to us from real life. We read each and every one, and each and every one lifted us up just a little bit more.
We visited a church one Sunday, and the two ministers from that church came. They kind of took turns, and each day one of them was there. That just meant so much, that somebody who we barely knew and barely knew our story would take time out of their day to come and visit and pray for us.
The day of Violet's transplant, Jen, the big thing that she wanted was to be able to hold Violet one more time. Just in case something went wrong with the transplant.
Yeah, and knowing how complicated that was to hold her, that it wasn't just a few lines. She was on a breathing machine, and they came in to try and figure that all out, and before I knew it, I was up in the bed with her, cradled in my arm, and I got to ride all the way down to the OR with her. But not before that nurse prayed over that room and over everybody who was transporting her. If that's not love one another. That was one of the most memorable things for me, to just be able to ride with her and sing to her while we went down. I would say if you want to love one another, even the simplest thing, like praying for somebody, those prayers got us through this. Even the smallest little thing can make such a big impact on somebody who's going through something you may not even be familiar with. It could be a text or a Facebook message, an email. We got those messages, and we didn't always answer, but that doesn't mean we didn't get them and they weren't meaningful.
You may think it's only a little bit of time, or it's only a small gesture. Any little thing you can do that helps love one another makes an impact, whether you know it or not.